Hello everyone, I'm Rahul. I am the proprietor of the Surrey Downs Homecare Agency and also the Downsvale Nursing Home in Dorking, Surrey. And here we are today talking about the experience of Phillip and Jill. Thank you very much for coming and their experience in terms of organising home care for Jill's care needs. Could you tell us a little bit about your journey and your experience in organising care for Jill?
Sure.
And a little bit about your story, what got you here?
Sure. In May last year, 2nd of May, Jill had a serious stroke up in our cottage in Norfolk. There followed 80 days in hospital, 30 days in King's Lynn, and 50 days in Royal Surrey. She was transported down here. And then I was desperate to get Jill home. Jill was desperate to get home. So we had to organise a lot of care. At that time, she was very high maintenance. She needed to be hoisted. So we had no time to waste. We found a company that would do that for us. And then as the weeks went by, Jill improved bit by bit, and she no longer needed the hoist. And we decided that we'd moved on to a new stage. A very good team of ladies then took over and only came in twice a day because of Jill's improvement.
They were coming in 4 times.
They started 4 times, did they? Yeah. And then went down to 2 days, yeah. And then, unfortunately, they lost some personnel. The company shrank in terms of numbers, so they had to shed 1 or 2 of their clients. Unfortunately, it was last in, first out. We'd only been with them for a comparatively short time. And it was very short notice, and we were desperate to find some help.
Yeah.
After we'd phoned 3 or 4 people and they just had no capacity at all. We phoned you, you lifted the phone. As I say, I was very impressed by the fact that the guy running the company was behind the telephone. I didn't have to wait for a call back or anything like that. And you dived in, you said, yes, we'll come and see you. And since then, we've had one of your ladies come in the morning, one in the evening, and it's all been very, very good. And they've beautifully adapted to our home life. I think it's difficult for them to come into the home. It's difficult for us to have people coming across the threshold. But, you know, we have to be sensitive and they have to be sensitive. But certainly they've shown great respect for sort of the house rules and the way we operate, which has been fantastic. So we're very pleased with where we are at the moment. They also understand Jill's progress because Jill is improving. So what they needed to do, say, a month ago, they appreciate they might not need to do quite that in another month's time. They adapt, which is fantastic. We've just changed a procedure, for example. Jill now is dispensed with a commode in the evening.
Very good.
So the ladies have completely changed the way they operate. Jill is now given a quick shower in the evening, goes on the sort of family bathroom, goes into the family bathroom, onto the loo, and then has a shower. So they've moved with us, which is really something that we appreciate hugely.
That's fantastic. Now, you know, if you could just tell us a little bit about, you know, sort of the challenges that you faced before you organised the care for her. I mean, what was it like, you know, especially for, you know, was it the discharge a fairly quick process out of the hospital when they just said, oh, and then you had to look for something fairly quickly? How was that whole sort of process, the transition?
It was originally organised by the hospital, well, by the occupational therapist.
Right.
They used the people that the local authority use.
Yeah.
So they got onto them. We, as I say, were anxious to get Jill home. They came, checked out the home, had a hoist delivered, a bed delivered, made sure that
It was very much their kind of situation. They never, I was never involved.
You were not consulted or
no, they were anxious for the bed when they knew that we were keen to get Jill out and we had the resources to organise help. We had a visit from the NHS occupational therapist while you were still in hospital. She checked things out. She said, right, we'll get the deliverers in and you're on your own, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a cliff edge almost, isn't it?
It's a cliff edge. They want the bed. They need you out.
They need you
and,
out.
And it's far cheaper for them to provide the equipment than to keep you in hospital.
Correct. Yeah.
And to throw, well, it sounds a bit offensive, but they threw the responsibility onto us.
Mm.
So from then on, we were on our own, and we got a bit fed up with the,
I was never consulted. They always turned to Philip. I found it very difficult to have at least, well, I had men in the loo, and I've never experienced this. So I was shocked.
Yes, but now with
it
your
must have
out,
been really difficult as well, as you know, and you were leading a full life until that time, and suddenly you're now being treated differently somehow, almost, isn't
a
it?
lady of great dignity.
Yeah.
That's right. But
I had a lot of dignity, and I had to give it all up. But to have men to come in.
yes, but you when you were being hoisted, you always have to have two carers.
That's correct.
And one was a man, but the other was always a woman. You always had a woman as well as the man. I know you had a man on every occasion, but never two men.
Even so, Philip really couldn't understand. I found it quite abhorrent.
Oh, I did. I did. What is good now with Surrey Downs is the lady arrives and I leave her and Jill to get on with it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we always try and obviously accommodate
Exactly.
preference in sex as well in terms of the, the person.
If there's a problem, Shashika or whoever can open the door and say, Philip, I need this or that or the other, I'm always around. But it's good just to let them get on with it and do the job.
I think also the fact that as a private company, I think, do you find that there is obviously more input that you could provide with a company where you're sort of self-funding for your care, whereas I think to a certain extent, because it's run by the hospital or the NHS, that you have got limited, sort of input that you can provide.
And it's very prescriptive. They come and they do A, B, C this way, and there's no discussion. But with you, it's more.
It's a more consultative process.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. You're obviously. I'm very pleased to hear that Jill is making good progress, and hopefully everything will progress well. Since I've seen you, actually, you've made good progress. Since I was about a month or two ago, and you had a little situation as well.
6 weeks, yes.
Yeah. And I think we try and be as responsive as possible. We're a relatively new company as well in the home care side of things, but we have the backup of the nursing home, having been here at the Downsvale Nursing Home for a number of years, and all of our carers basically, work within the nursing home, have the experience in working with the elderly, and with things like mobility. The knowledge of how to move people. It's unless you have the level of training, I think. Also, did you find that there was a difference in terms of training, or?
Well, the early ones never treated me, so I couldn't even walk or anything.
Yeah.
And so we didn't get any experience from them. With the others, they were the three were three people that came in were very good. I'll have to say. They treated me well. I could relate to them. One thing I can't do is relate to anybody who treats me like a doll, or as though I hadn't a plane.
Well, yes.
I have to know that they do know about the language.
Yes, but the problem with the company who came came as soon as you were discharged from hospital, is you had different personnel. You didn't know who was coming in the evening, and you'd say, let's hope it's Gloria and not Grace or whatever. With your company, we've had continuity. So we've had ladies who've got to know Jill. We've only had 2 different ladies. So there's that feeling in the evening or in the morning, we know who's going to come through the door.
Correct. Yeah.
But with other companies, you think, who will it be today? And then somebody you don't know from Adam's Cat turns up. Yes, the lack of continuity it really got you down.
Yeah. I mean, it's suddenly you don't really know, and someone just turns up. It could be.
Yeah,
and you don't know what's the level of training or
you'd peek through the window and say, "Oh no, somebody new."